I got a box, I got a box, I got a box, hey, 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 hey. I actually have multiple boxes and multiple bags of yarn to show you guys today. Hey everybody, it's Katie, the Celestial Homebody, and welcome to a gigantic yarn haul. It has been a hot minute since we have sat down and unboxed some yarn, but I had to place multiple orders over the past few weeks because I just needed yarn. I have almost no yarn. I never have the yarn that I need for the project that I'm trying to work on. I run out of yarn, so of course I had to place another order. Or multiple. Oh, that? Don't look at that. Don't look at that. In all seriousness, I did need to place a few orders from Premier for some very specialty yarns that I needed for a very specific project. I needed some colorful fur to use for a pattern test that I am a part of currently. I don't think that the pattern is out yet. Well, by the time you're seeing this, the pattern's out. Oh, I'll just show it to you. I needed to get some red fur yarn to do this lion's mane. This is a Leo inspired zodiac lion. So I had to place an order for Premier to get some of this. This is the new chenille, not chenille. This is the new Fur Brights. Honey Bunny has like a variant with like really, really bright colors. We'll talk about it when I unbox them because I did use some of that red and then put it back in the box in full disclosure. But I did not peek. I did not look at any of the other yarns that I got. I also needed to get some of that new Parfait Plush from Premier. If you did not know, Premier Yarns recently came out with a plush yarn that is just like Parfait Chunky. However, it's much bigger. So if you are a fan of Parfait Chunky, but do not like how small projects come out in with the Parfait Chunky, then you're going to love the new Parfait Plush, and I'll show you those colors. I did not get every single color, but I did get a wide array of colors in my order. So we have that. I also have an Alize Velluto order to show you. I also have some yarn from Carrie at Traveling Pony Studio. She's a fellow YouTuber and has her own yarn line now named Naughty Pony, which is an adorable name. So we'll take a look at that. And then I also have a haul from Michaels and Hobby Lobby. So sit back, relax, grab a little snacky snack, a drink, and a whip, and let's get unboxing. So let's go ahead and start with the Premier boxes. There are two of them. All right, right on top of this first one here, we have some of the new Parfait Plush. Okay, let's take a look here. So they actually sent me a PR box with this Parfait Plush in it a few weeks ago, and I did review it in another video. I will link it at the end of this video if you're interested in seeing my review on it, how I liked working with it, some projects that I used it on. I will link that at the end of this video, but I only got four or five colors, I don't remember, that they sent to me, so I definitely needed to get some more of this. So like I said, this feels just like Parfait Chunky, but it is much thicker. This is definitely closer to the size of Sweet Snuggles Light or Chenille Home Slim, if you're familiar with the Loops and Threads yarn at Michaels. That is what this size definitely reminds me of. And with my Parfait Plush that I used from that PR box, I used a 6.5 millimeter hook, and it worked perfectly. The yarn glid on the hook. I did not get any holes or anything like that. So this is a very, very high quality yarn, and I'm very happy that they came out with a bigger size from the Parfait Chunky. So actually that brings me to, I'm gonna need to figure out where to put all of this that I'm unboxing right now, because as you can see, I'm a little full back here. So I think what I'm going to be doing is actually phasing out my Parfait Chunky and replacing it with the Parfait Plush, as well as the Premier Chenille Brights, because I like these yarns a lot better than the Parfait Chunky, just because they work up to be bigger sizes. And since I'm an amigurumi crocheter who sells my stuff at markets, I tend to like to use bigger hooks and bigger yarns so that things come out bigger, because to a customer, especially ones who don't know how to crochet, they don't see that something this big and something this big could take the same amount of time, as it just depends on how big the yarn and hook are that you use for them. So usually when customers see something really small, they just equate that to it should have a lower price, even though it took maybe more time than a much larger item, just because of the yarn. So that is why I'm going to be phasing out Parfait Chunky. I'm not going to sell any of it. I was thinking about maybe selling it or donating it. I'm going to just take it out of my shelves and put it off to the side in like a giant Tupperware thing, you know, one of those totes, hard-sided totes, and just put that away so that when I do want to use Parfait Chunky, I still have it. I'm just not going to be ordering any more. Every time I place a Premier order, it is going to be for this Parfait Plush. Oh, and now is also a good time to mention that if you are interested in getting any Premier yarn, I am a Premier affiliate. So if you purchase any yarn from them through the link that is in the description box, click on that, go do your shopping. It doesn't cost you any extra money, but I earn a very small commission, but it still helps to fund the business and my yarn buying so that I can continue to give you guys honest reviews of yarn moving forward. So go ahead and use that affiliate link in the description box. But anyways, I've been holding this brown skein of yarn for like 5 minutes at this point. So this is the color Rust, and this is a very true brown color. It looks very shiny on camera, and I don't know why that is, because in person it doesn't look shiny. It must be this ring light. There we go. That's a little bit more true to what I am seeing, but under the ring light, it is just super shiny looking. So I got 2 of this color, and I'm happy that I did, because this is a very true neutral brown. It's maybe a little bit on the red side, but brown yarn is something that I always find myself running low on. So definitely glad that I got 2 of those. This one, these are all really compact because they've been sitting in the box for a few weeks. So this color is called Cotton Candy, and it is the same pink color as the Parfait Chunky Cotton Candy, just thicker. And I really like this color pink. It's a soft, just pretty neutral pink tone. Not too orange, not too red, not too mauve. It's just a true pink. This one, on the other hand, is more of a blush, and this is the color light pink. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Parfait Chunky does not have a light pink color. Let me show you these in combination. So here's the Cotton Candy, and then here is the light pink. This is definitely more along the lines of blush. This is going to be great yarn for actually using it for blush on plushies, but there is the difference between the Cotton Candy and the light pink. Both really, really pretty pink colors though. This is an interesting color. Okay, so under the light in this room, this almost looks green. Okay, this is probably the softest skein that I have felt. Holy moly, that's soft. That feels like really, really good quality Sweet Snuggles light softness. Wow, I like that a lot. But under the light in here, it almost looks like khaki, almost with like a green undertone. But toffee is a color that I have used in Parfait Chunky, and it definitely is not khaki. So I don't know what the lighting is about, unless this is like a different color formula than the Parfait Chunky toffee. I don't know, but it's a very, very soft skein, and I guarantee you I will be using it. This is a fun color. Ooh, look at this. This one is called Grapefruit, and I do think that this is also an exclusive color to the Plush and not in the Chunky, but that is a really fun, vibrant coral, orangey, pinky orange. This is actually a fantastic color. I should have gotten more of this. I might need to place another order soon. I should probably take notes about what I want to replace orders for, because this color is reminding me a lot of a Sweet Snuggles light color that has been discontinued for months at this point, but it was a very similar shade of this pinky orange, and it is the only pastel orange that I have in my collection. I have some neon oranges, I have some burnt oranges, some traffic cone orange, some Monopoly $500 bill colored orange, but none of this shade, besides a tiny bit of that Sweet Snuggles Light left that I have been putting off using because I don't want to use it since I can't get it anymore. So this is a fantastic replacement for that color. I am so ecstatic about that. Next up, ooh, this is another super soft skein. This is the color Shell. This one is definitely in the Parfait Chunky. And I got this one because back before I discovered like Alize Velluto and the Premier Chenille Brights, I used to use pretty much solely Parfait Chunky even on my dolls, and dolls would always come out very, very small, but Shell was always a one that I would go to for skin tones of like the fairer variety of skin tones. So this is Shell. It is a little bit more orange than it is like a neutral skin tone. So I think still for the fair skin tones on dolls, I'm going to pull from Alize Velluto, which we're going to talk about in a minute because I have an order from them as well. I think I did get some skin tone from them, so I'll show you in comparison to this. But I still think that this is good to have on hand just in case I ever run out of that and I need to do a doll commission or something like that. Next up, we have another dark brown. Ooh, this one's soft too. So this is called Chocolate. This is Willy Wonka himself right here. This is a nice, deep, dark brown, just like the first browns that I showed you. It is coming off a lot shinier on camera than it is in real life. See, whenever you see shiny yarn like this, you probably are thinking how it feels is like that really, really bad quality chenille home slim that's very starchy and like squeaks on the hook. This does not at all feel like it's going to do that, but I understand that from where you're sitting right now, it might look like that, but just take my word for it. The skeins that I got anyways are nice and soft so far, but with any yarn brand, I feel like there's always a batch that is not good quality. I have had that experience a handful of times with Premier, but their customer service is really, really good. So every time I've just reached out to their customer service and they have been able to help alleviate the problem. Yarn is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Speaking of which, this blue color is definitely a little starchy. It is not nearly as soft as those ones that I was just holding up. This is just called blue, but this is very, very similar of a blue tone to the color Azure, I think it's called, in the Parfait Chunky. This is a true medium blue tone, and I am very happy about this color because, again, well, was it Home Slim or Sweet Snuggles Light? One of the two. They have a blue color that I have not been able to get since they were having the quality issues and pulled everything from the shelves. So I stocked up on it when they told us or announced that they would no longer be producing it, at least temporarily. I have not seen it back on my store shelves, but it is what I use to make a lot of my blue chickens inspired by Stardew Valley. And I sell those on my website and on Etsy and at markets, and they're always hits for me. So I am so happy to have a replacement for that blue color because I have not found another true medium blue like this in any other brand. So I was very, very happy to lay my eyes on that on the website. And again, I should have gotten a few more skeins of that too, but I'm sure I'll be ordering again soon. This is another one that feels not as soft, a little starchy feeling. This one is called Spearmint. And this is another color that is almost identical to the color of a Sweet Snuggles Light. So if your Michaels is no longer carrying the Sweet Snuggles Light, or all of the skeins that they have are that really starchy, gross, poor quality, then the Parfait Plush might be your new go-to just because it does work up the same size. I actually get fewer holes with this using a 6.5 millimeter hook than I do with using the Sweet Snuggles Light with a 6.5 millimeter hook. Usually on the Michaels yarn, I have to size down to a 6. So this yarn is just a lot denser. Even though visually, like holding them up to each other, I guess I could grab a skein for you, but I can't be bothered right now to compare. But the Sweet Snuggles Light does visually look thicker than the Parfait Plush. However, worked up, this yarn is a lot denser. There's a lot more fluff on the string than the Michaels yarn has. So that is why I do not get holes with this. And it also does not shed as bad as the Michaels yarn does. It still does shed. Again, if you're familiar with Parfait Chunky and how that sheds, this is no different, but it's not nearly as bad as the Michaels yarn. That stuff, man, it looks like I just beat up a teddy bear and his entire family after I'm done using that Michaels yarn, because I have fluff in my hair, in my mouth, on my clothes, on my couch. You know, you've been there. All right, that was box 1 of Premier. Looks like they put all of the Parfait Plushes in that one. Ooh, okay, here we have, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to jiggle you there. Here we have all of the fur yarns. This box is very heavy. This one's densely packed. Okay, so I already mentioned this red yarn. I did slip the band back on it to be like inconspicuous, but as you can see, it's a little loose on there because I did use quite a bit of it. So this is the new yarn that I was mentioning. It's called Bunny Brights. So if you have ever used the Premier Honey Bunny, this is kind of like that, but it is longer fur. The Honey Bunny is kind of similar to, what is that called? Bernat Pipsqueak, where it's like, it's fur-like, but they're fibers, not fur. This is, I would consider like a true fur yarn. And it is nice and soft. Again, I only use the red, so we'll see how the others feel. But this color is called Poppy. And what I really like about the Bunny Brights is that they picked colors that are already available in their other yarn lines, like the Chenille Brights, like the Parfait Chunky, the Parfait Plush. So that way, if you're doing a project where I'm working with the Poppy Parfait Chunky, for example, and I need a matching fur color, I can match it identically and exactly. So this nice bright red is called Poppy. Then we have this one. This one is called Plum, and I got this one just because I don't have any purple furs, so I just thought that it would be fun to have on hand if I ever am doing a specialty project. Like, I could totally see this on like a dragon or something. So I got the Plum Purple. I also got a lighter purple, and this one is called Lilac. This fur is definitely not as soft as the Big Twist yarn fur, that is, or the Michaels fur. This fur almost feels, it kind of feels like a cotton ball. You know, when normally you touch fur yarn, it's like soft and feels like you're petting like a nice, soft, fluffy animal. This kind of feels like a cotton ball. And I know my husband, Ryan, he has a thing about touching cotton balls. It like makes him squeamish. He just does not like the feel of them. So he would absolutely hate working with this yarn. He's a crocheter too, by the way. But regular fur yarn, he'd be able to work with no problem. But this color is called Teddy Bear. And I don't know why. Oh, this one's super soft. Okay, this dark brown is called Chocolate. And this one is super soft, like fur. This one feels like cotton candy. I feel like this is a rare case in yarn where you want this Bunny Brights to be shiny, because it appears to be that the shiny one is actually softer. I was going to say, though, that I don't know why I ordered 2 browns and no black, because I have quite a bit of brown fur and I don't have any black fur. So I got to add that to my mental list. I'm going to be taking a list as I'm editing this video of all of the things that I'll need to add to my next order the next time I do place a Premier order. But anyways, here we have Teddy Bear and Chocolate. So that was it in terms of the new Bunny Brights, but I had to get some more of this amazing chenille tie-dye. I did an entire This Week's Makes episode, if you've been around since then, where I used nothing but these colors in the tie-dye. And I am not normally a variegated yarn girl. I tend to think that I don't know. I don't really like the way that variegated yarns pool, especially with plushies and amigurumi, because sometimes you'll get to that point in your project where you're doing like 10 rounds, right? Of no increases or decreases or anything. And then like the body or the head or whatever it is that you're doing of the plushie will pool weirdly, and it will look almost like stripes, but then the rest of the body will look more like that tie-dye splotchy, and it just does not all blend well, in my opinion. What I love about the tie-dye is that it does not do that. The color changes are frequent enough in this, and it seems to kind of be random, maybe, instead of going like purple, green, blue, white, purple, green, blue, white. It like they mix up the colors, and so even if you're doing a large project, it all looks like it is tie-dyed, and I think that it just looks so cool. So this color that I pulled out is actually one that I have not had before. It is called Groovy Glow, and this one has like the neons in it. We have the neon green and the teal and the dark magenta, I guess you could call it, and the dark blue. That one is really pretty. I did only get one skein of this because I did not know how I was going to like it in person, but I wish that I had gotten more because that is really pretty. This is another new one to me. So this is also tie-dye in the color Ocean Swells, and appropriately named because we have some ocean colors here. We've got some greens and blues and whites. This is going to be really pretty for like octopi, turtle shells. These tie-dyes look stunning on turtle shells, by the way. This one I have had before. This one is called Flower Child, and it is really, really pretty pink and purples and white. Really like this color. I actually have a little bit more of this in my stash still. Oh, just got an order. Thank you so much, Sonia, for ordering my Nyx the Dragon crochet pattern on Etsy. But anyways, this is really, really pretty, worked up, very feminine, very girly. The little girls are really drawn to that colorway. Okay, here's another new one to me in the tie-dye, and this one is called Cosmic Camo. Did I get this one because the name Cosmic was in the title of the yarn? Maybe. I am not a camo gal. In fact, I am like the opposite of camo. I normally cannot touch camo items with a 10-foot pole because they're blah. I don't like hunting. I don't like the outdoors. I'm outsidey. I'm not outdoorsy. Like, I will enjoy a nice mimosa on the porch as long as it's 72 degrees and there aren't any bugs and there is a nice brisk wind. But I'm not like wading in rivers or anything like that. So I'm outsidey, not outdoorsy. So camo normally does not appeal to me in the slightest, but I figured that maybe a frog in this would be really appealing to the kiddos. So I just got one skein of that. Then I got 3 skeins of my favorite tie-dye color, and that is called In Harmony. And look at how pretty these colors are in this. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so pretty. I made a dragon out of this yarn with like the accents, the wings and everything were in this yarn, and it turned out so stunning. That actually went home to a subscriber recently, but I got 3 of these. Oh, it slipped out of its casing. That's how I got pregnant with Celeste. Interesting. This one has a little bit more white on it. That could just be the way that it is balled up. This one just appears to have more white than the others do. It's still really, really pretty though. So that was all the tie-dyes. Now we have some of the chenille Basics Brights, and this is probably my favorite line from Premier. It's too early to tell if the Parfait Plush is going to take over for my top ranking from Premier, but as it stands, this is my favorite yarn that Premier has on offer, because this is actually the same as the tie-dye yarn. That obviously that one's just the tie-dye variegated. These are the solid colors that we're about to go through. This yarn is just, normally it's very, very soft. This skein is a little thick. It's very dense feeling, which is kind of uncommon, but most of the time I get these skeins, they're nice and soft, such a pleasure to work with. They don't shed, which is the best thing. I don't know a single crocheter who says that they like shedding on yarn. So if you do not like shedding, but you like your items to come out larger, then I highly recommend the Premier Basics. The only thing that I don't love about this yarn, and this is completely personal preference, is I like my yarn when it's worked up to have like a smooth appearance. This yarn is similar to blanket yarn, so it has a little bit of that. There's an official word for this texture, and I'm blanking on it right now, but can you kind of tell what I mean? Like, it looks like it's got a lot of peaks and valleys in it. It's not smooth looking yarn, especially in this gray one right here. Can you see that? So that is just a personal preference. If you don't mind the look of more like the blanket yarn on your plushies, then this is definitely, like, you cannot go wrong with the Basics Brights. But this color is called caramel, however you pronounce it. And this is a nice true brown. Yeah. This is a nice true brown, and earlier when I was looking at the Parfait Plush, definitely next to this, the Parfait Plush rust color definitely has more red in it. But if you are interested in seeing the difference between the Parfait Plush and the Chenille Brights, here you go. They are about the same size strand-wise. I really hope that the camera is focusing. Same size strand-wise, but the Premier Basics Brights has more of that texture to it, whereas the Plush is a lot more smooth looking. So I got one of these. I also got a 3-pack of this color. I believe this is the rust color in this. Yes. So this is rust in the Premier Basics. Here's the rust in the Parfait Plush. So this one is definitely a lot more yellow in the undertone department than the Plush is, because these are both called rust, but they are definitely not the same dye combination, or if they are, the material in the yarn handles the dye differently. But I got 3 of these because this is just a color that I use a ton, specifically for like woodland critters and whatnot. So I did get 3 of these. And then lastly, in the brownish department, I got this color called Steel Cut Oats. And this is a really great color for paler skin tones. It's just a very, very neutral undertoned yarn. You cannot go wrong with the neutrals. So if you are placing your first Premier order in this yarn, I highly recommend getting at least one of the Steel Cut Oats color, if not 2 or 3, because this is a color that I use all the time, especially if you enjoy crocheting more realistic animals plushie wise. This is definitely a need to have in your collection. Let's move on to the grays. So this gray is darker. It's called pewter. I hate that word. Pewter. Ooh. I do actually have another skein of this. Oh, here, I can show you what it looks like worked up. So I made this little mouse, this little trick-or-treating mouse the other day, and this is the Chenille Brights pewter, how it looks worked up. He's so cute. This is a pattern by Knotting Hook Crochet. So anyways, I got one pewter, and then I also got one in the color Fog, and Fog is much lighter of a gray. Oh, I missed one. This one's kind of along the lines of the brown. So this one is called Mushroom. Mushroom would also be a good light skin tone. But mushroom is another one that is just a neutral color and really good for accents, like on dogs, bears, like the muzzles, the inside of ears on animals. I did have Parfait Chunky in the color mushroom and I never used it for whatever reason, but I have used the Chenille Brights in the mushroom color. Then we have, this is one of my favorite colors in the Basics Brights, and this is called Bright Violet. And I swear every time I get one of these skeins, it is the softest skein in the box. It has to be something with the dye process, I can only imagine, but it is so incredibly soft, and it is just a fun, poppy purple. I have not found another yarn brand that has this fun of a color and bright of a purple color outside of Big Twist Posh. Rest in peace. Let's have a moment of silence. But the Posh is much, much thinner than this is. So Bright Violet is one that I at least get one skein of every time I place a Premier order, just because I know that I'll use it and I know that I will enjoy using it. This skein does not feel good. This is called Hot Coral. And this one does not feel pleasant at all. So I'll need to reach out to Premier, but as I mentioned, their customer service is top notch. So I'm sure that we'll be able to get something worked out. But this is a color that I have never ordered before. It's a weird orangey, I mean, it's definitely orange, but coming off on camera, it almost looks more burnt orange. This is like a red, almost grapefruit colored orangey red in person. I'm gonna set this one aside so I can reach out to them about that. And then finally in the box, we have Poppy. And I should have gotten another skein of this too. When I placed this order, it was late at night and I did not have my yarn collection in front of me to see what I needed, but I recently used up pretty much all of my Poppy in the Chenille Brights. So I should have gotten two of these, but I was saying earlier how they use the same colors and dye for this Bunny Brights as they do for their other yarns. So this is Poppy in both of these different lines. So if I ever needed to make something out of Poppy and with the fur around it or something, I know that they will match. All right, so that was all of the Premier yarn. Now let's take a look at the package that Naughty Pony Studios sent me. So this is her new yarn line called Naughty Pony. Such a cute name. So there is the band, and she produced this herself and she ships them all herself from her farm. I think that that is really, really awesome. So these are 100 grams and 100% polyester. Okay, the feel of this is the first time that I'm feeling this. This feel is very reminiscent of Alize Velluto yarn. If you are a fan of the Alize, then you will probably really like the Naughty Pony. So this is a beautiful color. The color names are not on here, it's just the color number. So this is a really pretty royal blue, color number 11. This is very, very soft. Then we have a brown color. This is color number 12. This feels just like the Alize Velluto, and that is my favorite yarn. So I guarantee you, Carrie, that I am going to enjoy working with this. This looks like it's pretty much a similar weight as well. So we have the chocolatey brown. Then we've got black, and this black feels really nice. Something that I run into often with yarn is, for whatever reason, the black yarn always feels worse than the other colors. And I can only imagine that it has something to do with like the rinsing process as they're rinsing out the dye, or perhaps the dye itself. I don't pretend to know how yarn factories work, so I can only imagine that's what it has to do with. However, this black yarn is very soft. It's just as soft as the other ones. So that's awesome. Oh, and she did say too that it doesn't shed. So here's the end here. I'm pulling on that end. Yeah, no yarn is coming off. If I were to do this with Parfait Chunky, I would get like clumps of fluff falling off the end, the strings, and just leaving strings hanging there. So very similar to the Alize Velluto, also in the fact that it does not shed at the end of the strand. Excellent. We love that here. Oh my goodness, this is bright. Oh my goodness, this is almost as bright as my skin. Oh my gosh, the other day, Ryan and I went to the zoo and it was so bright out. The sun was shining, not a cloud in the sky, and we're walking around the zoo, and I looked down at my chest. I was wearing like a dress, like a U-shaped neckline dress, and I looked down and I go, wow, I'm white. And Ryan goes, not gonna lie to you, you're a little hard to look at. This yellow yarn is about as bright as I am in the sun with my pale Irish skin. So this is color number 17. I'm going to name it Sunshine because that is what it looks like. Ryan is going to love this. Yellow is his favorite color. So he is going to commandeer this. I can assure you that that's going to be put to use in one of his projects. Then we have a red color. This is color number 20. This is kind of similar to the poppy color. Here's the Premier Poppy color, and then here's the Naughty Pony. So very similar. The Naughty Pony is a tad bit more muted, which I do not mind. I typically prefer more muted colors in my yarn collection outside of that bright violet that I was telling you guys about, because I do love that yarn. But usually I tend to be drawn to the pastels, more muteds when I am picking yarn for projects. So we've got some red. That's going to come in handy come Christmas time when I'm prepping for Christmas sales and markets. And the last one that's in here is a brown color. This is color number 16. And this is pretty similar to the Parfait Plush. More of a similar tone maybe to shade-wise in the middle of the Basics Brights and the Parfait Plush. In the middle is the Naughty Pony. But again, I say you can never have too many neutrals, and brown especially. I want to make a bunch of squirrels and like woodland creatures for my upcoming fall festival market. So I will be whipping through these brown yarns really quickly come the next few weeks. And then finally in the bag, she sent this adorable little card and she wrote my name on it. I'll keep it forever, Carrie. So if you want to check out the Naughty Pony yarn, there is the website link at the bottom, and you can also follow her over on Instagram. I'll put it in the description box as well, as along with the links for the premiere and for the Alize Velluto, which we are going to talk about right now. I got a brick, not a brick of cocaine, although as I like to say, yarn to me is like cocaine to some people, and yes, I love to buy yarn, but I could be into more expensive hobbies, trust me. So if you have never used Alize Velluto yarn, which is what this package is, so the reason why it looks like a very condensed brick of drugs is because this yarn comes all the way from Turkey here to the United States where I live. And because shipping is, I imagine, is expensive from anywhere in Europe or UK to the United States, they really condense the yarn into these packages whenever I get them. And I normally run into the issue of accidentally slicing through the yarn because it is so compact in here. I cannot even get my finger in there. It is so compact. This time I use a very dull, what do you call it? Oh, this package is so dirty. My hands feel nasty. A very dull letter opener. I just perforated a couple of holes and then tried to use my fingers to open it. But because they also wrap it with packaging tape, I got to the packaging tape and I could no longer do anything with my hands. So I brought out my letter slicer again and then just did a small little cut. And because this yarn is so thin, I cut through the yarn. This happens every single time. And I get comments saying, I don't know what you mean. I can open their packages just fine without cutting through the yarn. Well, I'm not that talented, my friends. I cut through it every single time. There is usually at least one, possibly two casualties when I'm trying to open these skeins. But this is what the Alize Velluto band looks like. Now, when I pull these out of here, they're going to look very shriveled. That's because they are packed in here so tightly. They are like vacuum sealed in here. So this is what Alize Velluto yarn looks like if you have never seen it or heard of it before. This is my all-time favorite yarn. If I could only use one yarn for the rest of my life, it would be the Alize. Second of which would be the Premier Basics Brights. But this yarn is so incredibly soft. I don't think I've ever gotten a bad skein of this. There are skeins that are less soft than others, but none that are bad, I would say. And the only downside to this, well, I guess you could consider the shipping a downside because it does take like a week and a half. Honestly, for coming all the way from overseas, it gets here pretty quickly. Gets here at about the same time as my Premier orders normally do. But the major downside is that these skeins are very, very small. I think, does it say? Okay, so it's also 100 grams, so it is the same weight as the Naughty Pony yarn. So this is white, obviously, but something about the Alize Velluto that I also don't like is that they don't put color names on these. They're just numbers. And so whenever I'm doing my this week's makes, when I'm trying to tell you guys what yarn I used, what colors I used, I never know with the Alize Velluto because they just put random colors. Like this is color number 55. You think I'm going to remember that? No. So I feel like we should just make up names for these yarns. Let's do that as we go through here. We'll just make up names. I'm going to call this one, this very pure white, Katie's Skin Tone. Then we have this color number 15. It is a soft mint color. We'll call this one Where Are the Turtles? So I got one skein of Where Are the Turtles, and there's another one buried in here too, and two skeins of Where Are the Turtles. This color is color number 599, and this is reminiscent of the mushroom color in the Basics Brights. Those are very similar. The mushroom in the Basics is a little bit darker than the Alize Velluto, but that is very similar. This is actually the color that I prefer to use for the lighter skin tones. And I'll show you, as promised, in comparison to the shell color in the Parfait Plush. Do you see how orange that is? I mean, next to this, this just looks straight up like sherbet orange. Is it sherbet or sherbet? I think it's spelled sherbet, but growing up, we always said sherbet. So where did we get that extra R? I don't know. The world's a mysterious place. So anyways, this is great for dull skin tones. So we'll just call this one dull skin tone. This one's easy. This one's called black. This is color number 60. And I got a couple skeins of black from the Elise because I have not found any other black yarn in this size that I like using. The Naughty Pony yarn might actually be a good replacement for this because she ships it super duper fast. So if I'm in a pinch, I might order some of that from Carrie. But like, I don't know, the Bernat, the Chenille Brights. I guess the Chenille Brights is okay because it is nice and soft, but again, it has that texture to it. This is nice and smooth looking, and it does not shed, and it is one of the few brands that can produce the black yarn without that starchy feeling to it. So that is why I love the Alize Velluto black. So I stocked up. I got 1, 2, there's a couple more down deep in here too. We'll get to those in a second. This is a really fun hot pink color. Oh my goodness. We're gonna call this 2010 bedroom because this was the color of my bedroom in like 2010. It was black, white, hot pink, zebra print. It was inspired by the Pottery Barn Kids bedspread that I had. I'll put a picture of it here, but we're gonna call this 2010 bedroom. Might have been earlier than 2010. Next, we have color number 141, and this is a royal blue. This looks almost identical to Naughty Pony's royal blue. Looking at them side by side, the Naughty Pony is ever so slightly smaller, but the texture and the color of her yarn is very, very similar to the Elise. So like I said, I'm sure I'm going to love using it. What should we call this one? Let's call this one Ocean, because it looks ocean blue. We have 3 more of the doll skin tone colors. I have also used this one in the past for dolls as well. This is color 310. So on the website that I order the Alize at, it's called Hobby Shoppy. I'll link it for you in the description. They do assign color names, but on the skeins, it's just the numbers. And then each website that sells Alize give each color different names. So that's why I don't go based on the website names. Plus, I never remember them. For whatever reason, I do remember what the Hobby Shoppy calls this color. It is called Honey Foam. So we will leave it at Honey Foam. This is a really nice neutral tan, a light tan. Then we have this color number 111. We'll call this one Cosmic Plum. That's a really, really pretty shade of purple. I actually got 2 of the Cosmic Plum. So there's the other one right there. We got 3 more blacks. I also got a couple non-plush yarns. So I will talk about that in just a second here when we get to the end. This is color 340, and this is a pretty peachy, light pink. What do we want to call this one? I'm going to call this one Ballet Slipper. This looks just like the color of the ballet slippers that I had as a kid. So we got 1 skein of that. Here's another skein of Honey Foam. We are about halfway through our brick of drugs here. We have 2 more skeins of that ocean blue color. We've got this one, color number 216. This color looks like the $500 Monopoly bill. Looks like the Kraft mac and cheese powder that you put on your cooked noodles. We're going to call this one Howard Darcy. If you know, you know. 2 of this color number 414. This is a very unique shade of blue. It is medium blue, but it has more of a teal green undertone to it. So this makes it very, very unique. And I do not have any colors similar to this in my collection outside of this color that I already have in Alize, but I think I only have like a half a skein left. So I did grab 2 of these just to have stocked up. We have another ocean blue. I got 4 of those. I don't know why I got 4 of those skeins. I have so many blue skeins of yarn. This one is color number 421. This is a orange color, and we're gonna call this one Cheeseball King in honor of my husband, Ryan. Then in terms of plush yarn, the last 2 that we have is color 530. Is this, I can't tell if this is gray or if this is brown. Taupe. I would call this just taupe because it's a weird mix. On camera, it looks more gray. In person, it looks more taupe. So that's what we're gonna call it. So 2 skeins of that. So that was all of the plush yarn that I got from Alize Velluto, but I did, like I said, get a couple of non-plush skeins for a particular purpose. So back on my wall there, do you see that huge, beautiful granny square tapestry? All of those squares are actually made by my wonderful community here on the Celestial Homebody channel. People sent me granny squares in a pastel color palette that I combined into that tapestry. I actually have more squares that I'm going to be combining into a second and third tapestry, but I was not able to work on that in the past few weeks because the yarn that I used to join that granny square tapestry is this, and I ordered this from the same website, Hobby Shoppy, that I order my Alize Velluto from. And since they have the $100 minimum to get free shipping, girl math tells me that I cannot just pay for shipping. I have to pay an extra $50 than I wanted to spend to get the free shipping. So I couldn't just order these few skeins to join those other granny squares. I had to order all of this Alize Velluto yarn as well. So I got 4 skeins of this, and I really hope that it's going to be enough to get me through those last 2 tapestries. I think that it will be. But this is Jean's Soft Colors by Yarn Art. And this is the color. Does it have a color shade on here? Color 6212. It's just a really pretty pastel rainbow. So that is why I used it to join those other granny squares, because it really encompassed all of the colors of the squares for the yarn that you guys sent to me. And then the last 2 skeins that I got from Hobby Shoppy is yarn that I have never used before. It is called Alize Midi. And I do not love the feel of these. These feel like very, very cheap, like cheaper than Red Heart Super Saver rough yarn. These were cheap. I want to say it was like $2.95 a skein for 100 grams, but I don't like these. I'm going to be donating these probably to my local thrift store because I don't want to use them. But the reason I got these actually brings me to our Hobby Lobby and Michael's haul. So if this is the first time that you're watching one of my videos, hi, by the way, I'm Katie, and I'm an amigurumi crocheter. Probably should have started with that. But you might not know that I lost my firstborn son. His name was Sawyer in 2023. And so for the months of August through October this year, to honor his memory and also to bring awareness to Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, which happens in October, we are, as a community, are going to be crocheting hats and blankets for angel babies and donate these crocheted and knit items to our local hospitals that have NICUs, where unfortunately babies often meet their demise. And a lot of these babies are unexpected. They come early. They're just itty bitty little things that don't have any clothes or anything that fits them. So in honor of Sawyer's memory, we are donating these things to give to parents who have lost their baby. And so that way their little baby has a hat or a blanket or something to symbolically warm them as they are doing their final pictures and things in the hospital before they go to the funeral home. So this is a cause that's very, very near and dear to my heart. We are actually doing live streams every couple of weeks from now through October. So I will put that schedule up on the screen here. But the reason that I'm telling you all this is because this next haul from not Joann's, darn it. Oh gosh, I missed Joann's. This next haul from Hobby Lobby and from Michael's is all acrylic or cotton yarn that is more of the worsted weight, so that I would have some nice soft yarns to crochet these little hats and blankets for these families and angel babies. So that is the reason why I got that purple and blue from the Hobby Shoppy website. But like I said, I will definitely not be making stuff out of those. I would not want to wear those. I'm definitely not going to give them to a family who just lost their baby. And having been there myself, I wanted to use only very soft, high quality things to make these little hats and blankets for these babies. I just got an order. I just got a Shopify order. Did you guys see the thing tick? I was bending down to grab my bag and it just went off. Let's see who bought something. Oh my goodness, Allison, thank you so much if you're watching this for getting my Matilda the Bat crochet pattern. That was so exciting. Okay, I have a huge honkin' bag here that encompasses both of these yarn stores yarn. So let's start with the Hobby Lobby stuff. So I love this yarn and I love this cotton. You know what? I take that back. Every single skein of yarn that I have touched at Hobby Lobby has been so incredibly soft and high quality. Not their plush yarns, but in terms of all of their worsted weights and DK weights, so incredibly soft and pleasant to put my phalanges all over. So I got a ton of skeins of the I Love This yarn to do Sawyer stitches. So this is the first one that we have, and this color is called Daydreamery, not Daydreamy, Daydreamery. And it has purple and pink and blue and teal in it. And this is a little bit more of a bold color that I would normally not have gotten for the babies. I feel like for the babies, we should do more like softer colors. Primarily pink and blue is usually what hospitals prefer to be donated. But I just couldn't pass this one up. It was just so pretty. And if I decide not to make hats or blankets with this, then I will find something else to use it for. Maybe I will double strand it with like a black or a white yarn to make a plushie out of. I promise I will find a purpose for it. Similarly, we have this one. The color is called Instant Classic. And again, this is another bolder color scheme, but I thought that this would be so beautiful as a blanket for a baby. I think that it would be so pretty if I could color pool this so that each line of the blanket was a different color. I'm not sure though how, I don't really want to pull this out before I'm ready to use it, but I'm not sure how long each color segment is. Obviously, if it's really short, then I won't be able to do that. But if it is a decent length, then I might be able to plan it so that it color pools in a blanket. And I think that that would be stunning. I got this one. This is the color Mint Tea, not minty like the My Little Pony, Mint Tea. And this is a jungle green, I would classify it as, but obviously it's variegated. This is the type of variegated that I like to use in like personal projects, because like I was talking about earlier, I don't really like it when the colors are so drastically different from each other, especially if they pool weirdly. So this type of thing I really enjoy because it is variegated, so it adds some visual interest without it being so obnoxious that it's like changing colors every 2 seconds. So I did get this one, and then along the same lines, there is this colorway as well. And this one is called Oasis Beat. And this is the blue variant. So there's the blue and the green. And I just thought for little baby boys to have like a little hat made out of this blue would be really cute and comforting to the parents who receive it. Then from Hobby Lobby, I Love This yarn, I got this color called Shocking Violet. And is this not stunning? Oh my goodness. This actually vaguely reminds me of that Flower Child chenille brights tie-dye that we just looked at earlier. But the colors in this remind me of a peaceful sunset, and I thought that this would also be a beautiful baby blanket. So I got one skein of that. So this is a color that I swear every single time I go yarn shopping at Hobby Lobby, which we do a lot on the channel, by the way. If you're new here and you're not familiar with the channel or the videos, I do a lot of shop with me as we go to craft stores and we go yarn shopping and hauls just like this. So if you're interested in sticking around for a little bit, you feel free to hit that subscribe button. I invite you to, but every single time I'm filming a vlog and we're going shopping, I look at this skein and I say, that is so pretty, but I'm not gonna get it because I have no idea what I would use it on. This is the I Love This yarn in the color Parcel and Bow. And if this is not the perfect little baby variegated yarn, I don't know what is. It is the Most beautiful muted pastel rainbow. And with the name Parcel and Bow, does that not just scream little baby to you? So I actually got 2 skeins of this. One of them is currently on my desk over there. I have already started working that one up into a blanket. And then I think I'll probably do hats in this one, so that way the families can get a matching hat and blanket for their little baby. But it works up so beautifully. Oh, I love this one. This has to be my favorite. I think this is the last I love this yarn color, but this one is the color, what is this called? Where's the name? It's just called Pastels, and it is pink and blue. It almost looks like stripes. Do you see how it, is that focusing? That's not focusing, hang on. Do you see how it looks like stripes? That's just really cool. It's really unique. And look at how pretty it looks on the picture. It gradients, and that's just really, really pretty. I'll probably also do hats and a blanket in this. This is not very much yarn on a skein, so if I do decide to do a blanket, I'm definitely gonna need another skein or 2 of this yarn, but we'll start with some hats in this one. Then I got 2 colors of the Baby Bee. Soft and Sleek Baby. Actually, that's a lie. I got 3 colors of this. Soft and Sleek Baby. So I thought that this one was fun because it kind of looks like it has little sprinkles in it. There's no like pom-poms or anything like that. It's just dyed in a way that looks like it was like splattered, and I thought that that was really fun. This is the color Grasshopper. It's blue and green and a little bit of gray in there as well. This one is the color Gimme Sugar, not Give Me Sugar, Gimme a Sugar, baby. And this one reminded me kind of a funfetti, pink and peach, and a little tiny hint of blue. That's gonna make such adorable little baby bonnets. Oh, and then maybe I could trim it with like a light, soft baby pink. Oh, it's gonna be so cute. Then I got some of this Soft and Sleek Baby blue color. I have the band right here. This one is called Aqua Marbled. And I did cake it because I already broke into the skein. I have already made a hat out of this for the babies. These skeins, I will say, are a nightmare if you're trying to do a center pull. So I highly recommend unwinding from the outside if you're going to use any of this Baby Bee Soft and Sleek. And then the last thing that I got from Hobby Lobby is this Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel Cotton. And look at how pretty this is. Oh my gosh, it's stunning. Oh, it's this really, really cool rainbow gradient, and I swear no cotton yarn is as soft as this yarn is. I know a lot of people swear by sugar and cream, and I'm like, how? Are your hands made out of sandpaper? How do you work with that? I hate working with cotton because when I started working with cotton, it was sugar and cream, and I did not know that there was a great wide world out there of soft cotton yarn. This is one of them right here, the Yarn Bee. I have no idea what I'm going to use this on. Probably nothing for Sawyer stitches. I was thinking about making like a little Stanley Cup koozie. Is it ridiculous? Yes, but I just could not pass up these bright neon colors, which again, I'm normally not a bright color person. I love soft pastel colors, but something about this just looked like Lisa Frank to me, if you remember the good old days of Lisa Frank. So I just had to get this, and I promise I will put it to good use. So that was it from Hobby Lobby, but now I have a couple of skeins from Michaels that I wanted to show you guys that I got the other day. So I got a couple skeins of this Loops and Threads Flex, and I actually used this yarn last year to make my baby daughter a Halloween costume. She was a Little Mermaid, not the Little Mermaid, she was just a small mermaid. And I used it for the tail in the green color, which I'll show you in a second. But I remember loving using this yarn, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I have worked with all of these colors on a project, which I'll show you at the end here, on a hat. And this yarn splits like crazy, but I do love the colors that it comes in, and it has these little flecks, it's aptly named for that fact, these little flecks in it that just add a little pizzazz. So since I've used all of these skeins, I don't have the bands on them, but I will still show you the colors. These have like normal color names, they're nothing crazy. So we have this blue color, it's like an aqua blue. This is that green color that I use for Celeste's mermaid costume. And I love this shade of green. It's like a minty green, but it's darker. You know, it's not a super light mint green. And the flecks in this one are blue and yellow. This one is also one of my favorites from this line, and it is the purple. And the reason that I love this purple so much is because the flecks in it are blue, pink, and yellow. So when it's worked up, especially in combination with these other colors, this purple really pulls in all of those other colors, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Same with this yellow one. It has the white, blue, and pink flecks in it. So again, when it's worked up with other colors in this yarn line, it really creates a cohesive look. So this one I know is called Sunshine. Similar to the blue, this pink is very muted. The blue and the pink, their flecks are very similar colors to the yarn itself, with a few exceptions. Like this one has a few little purple periwinkle, I would call that, flecks in it, but it's a really, really soft pink. And then finally, this one is another favorite of mine. This one is Pastel Rainbow. Can we not be blowing out? There we go. I don't even know if that's really coming off that well on camera because it's so bright. Let's try to turn that off. That helps maybe a little bit. But this is Pastel Rainbow, and it is just so, so pretty. It's all of the colors that I love in one. So this is the hat that I made with it. I was in a pattern test to do this jester hat beanie. So I used all of these colors for this hat, and this is what I mean, like with the yellow. So do you see the flecks in this little star here? How the flecks match the other colors in the hat? I just think that it looks really cohesive and cute, and this is what it looks like on model. But yeah, like I said, I was in a pattern test for this hat, so I wanted to use this yarn, but as I mentioned, it splits like crazy. So if you're not a fan of yarns that split, then just, this is your fair warning, but it does look beautiful when it is worked up. Look at that close up. Well, that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this very, very, very long yarn haul video. Before I say goodbye to you, endless thanks to our members in the Cosmic Couch Club and the Cosmic Couch Club Plus. You guys keep this little galaxy spinning. If you are interested in joining the coziest couch in the cosmos and getting exclusive channel perks like seeing videos early before they premiere, there is a link down in the description box below. Thanks so much again, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye! Now we get to clean all of this up and find a spot for it all.